Welcome everyone to the Week 1 Commissioners video where we're going to be looking at the awards from the past week and be looking at the power rankings going into our Week 2 set of games. First, we'll kick it off with our Top Performer Award, which we're looking at top turds who put up a 135 to beat the previous defending champion, Jay Gordon Rehab Chamber. It was an amazing night for Calvin Johnson, who pretty much sealed the victory after his 2-touchdown performance in the first quarter. Next, we're going to look at the Flush the Toilet Twice Award, which will dubiously go to Pack Daddy, who put up a fantastic score of 73 points. Now, I'm not sure if he thought that this was just an exhibition game or if this was just something where he wanted to play some of his backups, but this was by far the worst performance of the week, coming out of a team that I think a lot of people expected a lot more out of. So I think we're going to hope to see that this playoff contender from last year can somehow turn it around going into Week 2. Next, we're going to look at the Top Choice Award, which I have given to Fildo Industries for his starts of Zach Ertz and Greg Olsen, both tight ends, which you typically don't see in fantasy football that often, especially when using one of those flex spots for a tight end is a pretty bold move, and it paid off. They both performed very well and helped lead him to his 1-0 start for the season. And our last award for the week is the I Can't Believe That Just Happened award. And this award goes to both Felcher & Sons and A Bag of Dicks for their back-and-forth battle in the Week 1 set of games. It looked like Felcher & Sons had made a bid to take away the entire matchup after the 1 p.m. games of Sunday. And then the 4 p.m. games, he pulled away even further. And then it came to our Sunday night football game where Peyton Manning decided to throw 3 touchdowns to Julius Thomas, and it completely turned the tables, which it seemed like the odds were stacked against Felcher & Sons to make any sort of comeback. And then on Monday Night Football, he was able to take the lead. It was a slim lead, and it seemed as though the Bag of Dicks had a good chance to make a comeback, but they were unable to get a performance from Larry Fitzgerald that he had hoped. He had no targets through the first 3 quarters and really struggled to get anything going. He had a poor showing, and it ultimately led to the number 1 pick falling in his Week 1 matchup. Now we're going to move on to our power rankings for after the first week. And this is not just based on points. This is not just based on your record. This is based on a look at your team, a look at just the overall selection of players and your performance. So our number 1 spot goes to the Top Turds. After, again, he put up the top performance of the week, and he made us a good amount of starts this week that were tough decisions, and they worked out for him, and he made a very, very, very nice showing against a solid opponent. Next, in the number 2 slot, we have Felcher & Sons, who, as I just said, came up with a big victory against the number 1 pick, Giant Bag of Dicks. Third, we have A. Will's Boys, who is behind Peyton Manning in his Week 1 victory. Number 4, and while he went 0-1, he still put up a very, very nice showing in the week. Giant Bag of Dicks comes in at the number 4 slot. Number 5, Check Yourself. It wasn't anything big. It wasn't anything flashy, but he came out and he did what he had to do to get his win, and he put up a nice showing as well. At number 6, we have Breeze on Ball. I could say the same thing as I did for Check Yourself. Nothing flashy. A solid performance, came out and did what they had to do, and were able to walk out of Week 1 with a 1-0 record in a tough division. Number 7, also starting his Week 1-0, was Fildo Industries. made a few really nice starts and they paid off. And he has to be pretty happy after his week one matchup. Number 8. This was one of my preseason favorites in terms of just looking at his team and looking at his, some of the matchups that he's going to have this upcoming year. He really fell short by starting Cam Newton in his week one matchup, and that is the trash stash. He didn't check his team, and it hurt him. And I still don't think he would have won even with a Cam Newton start, but it was a lack of attention in a week one game, and I think it's not what we should get from such a good team in the upcoming year. I think this team should be better, and we'll see a lot more out of it in the upcoming weeks. Number 9, we have the defending champions, Jay Gordon Rehab Chamber. Same thing. I think that there's a lot more out of this squad. I think that he had some nice keepers. I think that, in the upcoming weeks, we're going to see what happens with this whole drug scandal and see how this whole Josh Gordon situation plays out. If he is somehow able to come back at any point this year, he may jump right up into the top tier of the league. At number 10, we have Brolo El Cunado. He had a rough week. He faced a really tough opponent. Not sure that he was expected to win this week, but he did have a few rough starts from some of his players, but I think that there's a solid foundation there, and I think that there's something to build on. At number 11, we have Sigma 05. Now, this is a person who undoubtedly struggled last year. I think that everyone predicted that he would have the number 1 pick after the year. Somehow he didn't, which was very, very impressive. He did put up a solid showing this week. It wasn't absolutely horrible, but I think some of his players played over their head. A few more weeks like this one, and even if they're losses, I still think that he will get moved up in the power rankings. And to round out our week 1 power rankings, I have Pack Daddy at number 12. Now, this is strictly on performance. I think that he can move up the power rankings pretty quickly with some better performances out of players like Jamal Charles and Eddie Lacy. I think that this is a really rough way to start your season, but I don't think that this is going to continue. I think that he'll find himself out of this position next week. So that wraps up our week 1 review, and I look forward to seeing our next matchup of games and seeing how they turn out. Good luck.